Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Keeping an Eye on the Geopolitical Ball with me, Jamie Shea, Senior Fellow at Friends of Europe. This autumn, we're going to have another round of the NPT, Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty review conferences in New York. And as always, if we are going to look forward to any prospect of more nuclear disarmament, it's important that the great powers now send a positive signal of their commitment to this process. Now, in that respect, just last week, President Biden, President Putin in Geneva agreed to resume US-Russia strategic stability talks and to look at a new negotiating framework for nuclear weapons. That's good. But undoubtedly, the one thing that would really help to send a positive piece of mood music to New York would be a resumption of the Iran nuclear deal, concluded back in 2015, but been out of action, unfortunately, since 2018, when President Trump withdrew the United States from this deal. Now, over the last couple of months, negotiators have been meeting in Vienna. There's a text on the table. A lot of technical agreements have been made. It takes apparently, so I'm told now, only a bit of political will from Washington and Tehran to get the deal over the line. Western diplomats would like to have this all finished before August, when the current Iranian President Rouhani has to step down and the recently elected hardliner Ebrahim Raisi takes over. Rouhani is very much the father on the Iranian side of the nuclear deal, so he has every incentive for his legacy of trying to get it resumed before he leaves office. There's been, in this connection, some speculation that it could be harder with President Raisi, who is a notorious hardliner and in the past a critic of the deal. But I'm not so sure. He's spoken out in favor of a resumption of the agreement. Also, of course, being a hardliner, if he agrees to it, there's no chance that he's going to be attacked from his right and be told that he's naive in the way that Rouhani was. But most importantly of all, as we all know, the Iranian economic situation is so dire that Raisi just has to get the sanctions lifted. And the only way to get the sanctions lifted is to return to the Iran nuclear deal. The economy has declined by 10% over the last 3 years. 1/3 of the Iranian population live in poverty, and inflation is now running at 48%. And Raisi has also pledged in his election campaign to improve the lot of the poor. If he wants to achieve that, he has to get, as I said, the sanctions lifted. So the prospects are looking positive. But if a deal is to be concluded, two things have to happen. In the first place, Tehran has to be more flexible on the lifting of sanctions. It wants all sanctions to be lifted immediately, but this is not going to happen. For one thing, many of the sanctions are not directly tied to the nuclear deal. They relate to Iran's previous cheat and retreat policy on its clandestine nuclear activities, where the file still has to be closed. They relate to its human rights violations. They relate to its support for international terrorism and to its destabilizing regional behavior. So the Iranians have to recognize that the lifting of sanctions will be partial and will be gradual. What they should be pushing for, in my view, is more sanctions to be lifted quickly in food, in the humanitarian areas, in the delivery of COVID vaccines, and anything which can help to boost the economy in the short term. The more high-tech stuff related to technology investments and banking will probably come later. But for its part, a second major piece of flexibility has to be on the side of Washington, prodded by Israel, and particularly by the new Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett. Many Republicans would like an improved nuclear deal, putting in to the mix Iran's ballistic missile program, putting in its destabilizing regional behavior as they see it. But Raisi made clear that not only does he not want to meet with President Biden, but he's not going to put those additional elements in. And so what we have to do is recognize that the best is to go back to the status quo ante, the existing deal, and then live for a better day later on. If we overload the deal on both sides, with too much sanctions relief or too many additional elements regarding Iran's missile and defense programs immediately, the deal will not happen, and it would be a greatly missed opportunity. But we also need Russia and China to play their part in putting pressure on Tehran. This will be an early test of the new, more productive relationship that Biden hopes to have with Putin after the Geneva summit. It's also a test for European diplomacy. The Europeans are in the chair and have to bring both sides together. This would be a good test of the new geopolitical EU that we've been talking about. But finally, if a deal is reached, it has to be used by both Washington and Tehran as a breathing space to change their policies vis-a-vis each other. It's clear that Trump's policy of maximum pressure on Tehran, trying to force it into surrender by piling sanctions on top of it, hasn't worked. The elections with the victory of a hardliner with almost no moderates in the race whatsoever proved that particular point. So Washington needs to find new ways to engage with Tehran. For example, asking it to pledge not to develop nuclear weapons, asking it to pledge not to develop ballistic missiles beyond a range of 2,000 kilometers. That would be the place to start. On the other hand, lately, Tehran has been showing signs also of wanting to be a little bit more flexible. It's resumed secret talks with the Saudis in Baghdad. It's offered the Saudis the possibility that they could reopen their embassy in Tehran. Tehran could help to put pressure on the Houthis to stop the war in Yemen. It could work with France to put pressure on the squabbling politicians in Beirut to come to an agreement at a time when the economy of Lebanon is falling faster than any other economy in the world. So the deal could open the prospect of a more productive relationship between the West and Tehran, missing since 1979 in the Iranian Revolution. Will that chance be seized? Let us hope so. Thank you very much for watching and listening today. Look forward to engaging with you again this time next week. Bye for now.